And welcome to this edition of RHS Live. I'm Jaden Holland.
And I'm Brooklyn Clark. Welcome to this edition of RHS Live.
For our first news story, we would like to take a moment to recognize and pay tribute to those who lost their lives on September 11, 2001. On that day, nearly 3,000 people were tragically lost their lives and many more being impacted around the world. We would like to take a moment to pay tribute to those who lost their lives that day.
On September 11, 2001, in New York City, a group of men hijacked two planes between the Twin Towers.
Yeah. This just in, you were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed. As we come on air, we have serious news that may have a very tragic alert for you right now.
So the summer before 9/11, I did basic training with the military, and the whole time the drill sergeants were saying, "Privates, you better learn this, because World War III could start as soon as you get out." And yeah, pretty much as soon as I finished basic training, 9/11. Well, I heard the news when I was in college. I was actually asleep on my fraternity, our couch in the common room, and my fraternity brothers came in and said, because they knew I was in the military, and they came in and said, "Hey, you better watch this." And so we turned on the TV, and then one of them turned to me and said, "Well, I guess we won't see you for a while." Well, we're still dealing with the consequences of our choices to react in the way that we did as a country, to start two wars in order to show the world that the United States is strong.
One of our students left the room but came back and was frantic, telling us that a plane had just exploded into the Twin Towers. And we were like, "Okay, Alicia, go back to class. It's all good." And we brushed it off. This was a student who was always telling some pretty wild stories. So we brushed it off, and then a few minutes later, the principal came on the PA and what had happened, and it was very surreal. We all turned the TVs on. We stayed here at school. After school, I remember going home and being very worried about survival stuff. Like, everybody was going to the grocery store, and everybody was going to get gas, and people were checking in with their loved ones. And I think the thing that has stuck with me the most is hearing the stories from first responders and from survivors.
So I was in second grade, and I was in Miss Straden's second grade classroom. I just remember my teachers being very panicked, and they were kind of like rushing around and whispering to each other. And if I remember correctly, one of the planes passed over Ohio, so they told us to get under our desks. And we were under our desks for a while.
Homecoming will be next week. If you have not signed your team up for the 2024 homecoming games, please do so now. The form will close tomorrow.
Harrison is Camo. Game starts at 7 p.m. Hope to see you all there.
Attention Red Devil sports fans. The RHS Bleacher Creatures are making t-shirts available to all members of the community. Shirt orders will be open until September 13th, and the cost will be $10. Students will be able to make their payment at the school, while other community members can make their payment at the game September 13th during the first half underneath the scoreboard. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Mr. Cox.
This school year, there have been many changes. One change that has been made this year is who is leading the Red Devil football team. Our crew went to speak with Coach Calvert about taking over the football team.
As the start of the 2024 football season, there's a new face in charge of the Red Devil football team. This past spring, the school decided to hire Marcus Calvert to the Red Devil football team.
So what's it like being a head coach now?
I mean, it's no different than being an assistant or anything like that. You just have a little bit more responsibility and things like that. I've been head coach in the past at other schools, so I mean, it's just a different transition, but it's not too bad. I enjoy it.
And what challenges have you had as the new head coach?
Just getting players to understand the consistency. Having a coach that wants to be here and build a program from the ground up rather than just try to get wins. The wins will come once you build a program from the ground up. So that's what we're trying to do.
All right, thank you, Coach Calvert.
Thank you.
Give me a scout team out there as well. 18, 17. Let's go. Call right. Rip is Roger. Robbie's beating up the end.
I'm Javen Lewis, and I'm here with Lewis Alexander. And today I'm going to be asking him questions. What do you like about Calvert as the new head coach?
I like Calvert as the new head coach because he got the winning mentality, and he hyped the team up.
Okay. What do you like about Calvert that you didn't like about the last coach?
The last coach, he ain't put a lot of people in the right position to win, and Calvert do this year.
Okay.
One of the major events of 2024 is the presidential election. Some RHS students will participate in their first election this fall. However, in order to vote, students must register to vote. RHS will offer the opportunity for students to register right here at RHS. Our crew caught up with Mr. Price and Bryce Cordova, who came up with the idea to bring registration to RHS.
Hello, I am Bryce Cordova, a sophomore at RHS. So I am the director of the YVA, which is the Youth Voters Association. Our goal is to have RHS have a bigger voice in our community, and especially in our civic duties. By doing this, we are going to create a registration next week through all the lunches, where all seniors will personally be able to register to vote and actually make a change in policies they care about. Here's what Mr. Price has to say about the criteria and what we need to do and what you need to do to actually register to vote. Plus, there will also be candy available to everyone.
I'd like to thank Bryce for putting this on Monday to make sure that the students have the opportunity to register to vote. Just remember, in the state of Indiana, you have to be 18 on the day of the election or before. That would be November 5th. So if you turn 18 on November 5th and not later, you are eligible to vote in this presidential election. You do need to make sure that you do register before October 7th. That is the last day that you can register to vote in this election. So make sure when you show up on Monday that you have a state-issued ID. You will need one of those to help you register for the voter registration process. When you do go to vote on Election Day or before, because you can vote before Election Day as well in the state of Indiana, make sure that you have your state-issued ID then as well. Those are really the requirements. As long as you've lived in the state of Indiana, you're a resident of the state of Indiana, you have lived here for 30 days, you're going to be 18 on the day of or before, you are golden to register. So when it comes down to it, this is one of those things that we try to make sure that everybody gets to do. If you think about it, historically speaking, there is a lot of opportunities where people did not have this right, and your ability to exercise that right is one of those things that kind of basically demonstrates that what they did was more than worth it. So please register, please vote, have fun. Thank you.
Here is this week's episode of Senior Moments with Mrs. Porter.
Welcome to Senior Moments with Mrs. Porter. Seniors, October the 24th, we will be giving the PSAT to all of the underclassmen. We will also be giving the SAT to any seniors who would like to retake the test that you took last spring. A lot of colleges these days are test optional, but if you would like to retake the test to try to improve your chances to get into a certain college or for scholarship purposes, please see your counselor for a sign-up sheet. The test costs $60, or if you qualify for free and reduced lunches, the test costs $8. The deadline to sign up to take the October 24th test is September the 18th, next Wednesday. Also, the week after next, September the 23rd through the 27th, is College Go Week. Stay tuned for upcoming announcements and activities that will be taking place that week. See you next week for more Senior Moments with Mrs. Porter.
That is all for this edition of RHS Live. Have a great day, RHS.